Finding yourself bored and numb? Well, no worries, cause now you can get the all-new Ink Pods!
Hey guys, this is Mr. Ing. Let's go over 11.5 Savannah High School Integrated Math 3 Module 1A Test, version D. This is on quadratic standard form, factored form on October 14, 2025. Let's do this Ken. Remember for Ken, you want to have only the numbers 1, 2, and 3 because there are 3 boxes. Recognize that this is a freebie because it has no math operation, so we're going to write a 2 in there. Okay, so I'm going to look down into this one. 2 numbers that add up to 4. You cannot use 2 and 2 because I'll be repeating. Let's try something like that. 3 and 1. Let's try this one. 5 will be 3 and 2. And I could be wrong, but it's okay to change it. Okay, this one says you need 2 numbers that subtract to be positive 2. So I'm missing a 1 down here, and this would have to be a 3. Does that match? It does. And then we can just go through and just see what we're missing. We're missing a 2 and a 1. And 1 plus 2 equals 3. Question number 2. Given x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0, which pair of consecutive integers contains the root of? So you can do this in a couple ways. You can do this by factoring. So I saw a couple of students do that. So a times c is -6, b value is -1, so that'll be 3 and 2, and -3. Remember the shortcut? You only need the numbers on the side there if your a value is 1. So when a is 1, you see that these go there and there. And then if you set them equal to 0, you'll realize that x is equal to 3 and -2. And these are exact values. So if you drew a graph, these points are going through exactly the tick marks, like this. So the answer would be exactly. Now, the second way you could have done this problem is by standard form vertex, finding the vertex. So writing down the formula, I gave you 1 point for just writing down the formula correctly. A is 1, B is -1, C is -6. So your B value is -1 and your A value is 1. So this would have given you -1 over 2. So that would be -1/2. And this would give you a positive 1/2. Now don't get intimidated by a fraction. So when you put it into your table of values, like this, it just means that it's your middle one, 1/2. So you could have done something like 1, 2, 3, and then 0, -1, -2. Something like that. Maybe I'll go up to -3. I'll go 4. So then you're just putting those values back into the equation. Like you're putting in 4 into your x value and then simplifying. So 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12, and 12 minus 6 is 6. Now you could have used your technology here, so I'm just going to fill this in. 2, -4, 1, -6. I'm going to guess 1/2 is -6.25. I actually don't know what it is. Then 0, -6, -1, -4, 0, and 6. Okay. So what you'll notice is the key number we're looking for is 0. That would tell you exactly. Okay. So if you had the whole table correct, I'll give you 1.5 points for the it's saving. All table is correct, and it has the 0. And let's just say you marked M or P, I would have given you 1.5 points. I also would have given you 1.5 points if you had the partial table correct. Whoops, wrote table correct twice. And basically that means that a lot of students only did 5 numbers. And you'll notice in these 5 numbers that the Y values are still all negative. Also, if you have the axis of symmetry of -1/2. And then I said the 1 point with just the x equals -b over 2a. Now, for those who said, well, Mr. Ng, I see a sign change. I see a negative, and I also see a positive. That is true, but what we're looking in between them is we're looking for that 0. Okay? Number 3. What is the simplified value of the expression 3i squared? So 3i squared. Now, I squared is equal to -1, or you can have done something like this. But this would have been the best one because you can just substitute it to be -1. You'll notice that you're multiplying, so it's just 3 times -1, which gives you -3, which would be choice B. All right, question number 4. Use the following graph. If you go through, you'll recognize your A value is -1, B value is -1. So A is -1, B is -6, C is +6. So an A value that's negative people frown. So your choice is F, down. B, fill in the blank. I know the AOS, so let's calculate the AOS. X equals -b over 2a from standard form. The B value is -1, 2 times your A value, which is -1. X equals, so that's -1 over -2. So that becomes -1/2. Okay, for some reason, if you couldn't get the negative to be up here, it took off a 1/2 point. So this should be -1/2. Okay, so if you take that value now and you put it into the function from above, -0.5. You could use 1/2 or a negative x squared minus x plus 6. Let's get a table. Just double check our numbers. Okay, so I'm missing a counting by 0.5, so then I can just go to table set, so that'd be second table in this calculator, and I wanted to change to 0.5. Okay, so it should have been -2, 4, -1, 6, -0.5, 6.25, 0, 6, 1, 4, and 2, 0. Oh, duh. See my mistake. Negative times negative is a positive. And so that should be a -0.25, and then this would be 6.25. Okay, so that's my vertex. So that would should be A. So then I have 0, 1. And if you want to, you could expand it. Okay, let's graph this. So I have these 2 points. -3, 2, 0. -2, 4, 1, 4. And then the vertex -0.5 and 625. Okay, some partial credit you could have received is 1 point if one of these is correct, either the table or the graph. Okay, number 4E, the range is the Y values, and we're going to go from bottom to top. So negative numbers to positive numbers. And so we're not touching anything until you hit the arrows. The arrows are referring to negative numbers. So that would be negative infinity with the parentheses always. And then the last thing I touch on the graph is right there, which would be positive 6.25 with a bracket. Okay, some partial credit. 1.5 points if you were super close. What that basically means is could be a symbol. Like you have negative infinity with brackets and then 6.25. Also, if you switched the left and the right. One point if you got each side correct. And then 0.5 if maybe on the left side you just have like negative infinity, no parentheses, and then the right side's wrong. So some partial credit. Okay, number 5. So notice that this is multiplication because there's no math symbol there. A lot of students miss this problem because it was a problem I required you to do when I was absent. 5 plus 3i can either go on top of the sign, and then -2 plus 4i. Let's multiply, get -10, 20i, that'll become -6i, and then here 12i squared. So we first multiplied, and then now we're going to add -10 plus 20i minus 6i plus 12i squared. Okay, we learned earlier that I squared is equal to -1. So -10, this is going to become plus 14i. And this is 12 times -1, which is -12. And then that'll equal -22 plus 14i is your answer. Okay, some partial credit. If you had 3.5 points, if you had 12i squared. Number 6. Okay. Notice there are 2 negatives. So that would be the square root of -1 and the square root of 8 times 8. This one would be the square root of -1, and 2 times 2. Remember, you're looking for pairs. But remember, this is -1. Square root of -1 is I, sorry. And then the square root of 64, or there's a pair, and you get 8, and this would be 2. So you're going to get 2 times 8, which is 16, and that becomes I squared. I squared is -1. So you're going to have -16 as your answer. Okay, 2 points if the inside factors are okay. So that's like 8 times 8, 2 times 2. 3 points is outside factors are okay. Okay, number 7. We need to factor it. Remember the trick. If a is equal to 1, you just need the x. But if a is greater than 1, you need both the x and the box. So here our a is 5. C is negative. B is -2. And C is -3. So a value, we're going to have to use this one. A times C, so that would be 5 times -3 is -15. Your B value is -2. Two numbers that multiply to be -15 are, you can list out. And then two numbers that add to be -2, that means the negative numbers have to be bigger. So remember, that would be -5x and 3x, because if you add those together, it equals -2x. Okay, this is where a lot of students were incorrect. The a term always goes a term is 5x squared, and c value is -3. It's 5x, and you have x. And this is 3, and this will be -1. So your answer is 5x plus 3 and x minus 1. Remember, you need to factor. So 2 points if your x was correct and everything else was wrong. Three and a half points if you tried to solve it. So meaning you got x equals 1 and -3/5. And I kind of underlined factor. Okay, number 8. Two ways to solve this one. You could do the square root, which was in packet 1.3, I'm guessing here, 7. It's because you want just a and c value. Your b value is 0, which we do have here. Okay, so square root method means you want the a and the c be opposite. Now you're already learning this in your 1.5 packet. To get rid of the power of 2's, take the square root. Cancel that, you have x equals, remember this is, you need the plus or minus. You do that right after a square root of an equation. You have -1 and 36, so the square root of -1 is I. And the square root of 36 is 6. So your answer is x equals plus or minus 6i. Okay, so the second thing you have here is you can solve this by factoring. So x box, and that's really your 1.4 packet. So x squared plus 40 equals 4, and we're trying to make this equal to 0. X squared plus 0x plus 36 equals 0. Notice there I put the placeholder for the b value. So a is 1, b is 0, and c is 36. Okay, your a value is 1, so you don't need the box. So a times c is 36, your b value is 0. Now pay attention. To add to 0, that means your two numbers should be off the same, but one is positive and one is negative. The answer is 6i and negative 6i. 6i times negative 6i is negative 36 I squared. I squared is negative 1. So you get positive 36. Now for those who are struggling, you could just put it in the box. First term is x squared, last term is 36. And then 6ix, negative 6ix. So you have x, 6i, and then negative 6i. So this is your answer for factoring. If you set each of those equal to 0, you would have got negative 6i and positive 6i. And then you'll notice our answers are the same. Okay, 3.5 points if you factored right here in blue with the star, didn't solve. Because up here it tells you to solve. 3.75. If you forgot the plus or minus. I don't think anyone got this one, but three points if your x is correct, but box and everything else is wrong. Some people were able to get 3.75, and you may have gotten a decimal. Actually, we don't need that for that problem. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. See you guys there. Bye.
Math is the best. Math is the best. Math is life. Mr. Ang, the best teacher in the West. We're so blessed to have Mr. Ang. Praise Jesus.